So in this video, I want to talk about why I believe God has led me to start trading again. Might sound like a strange assertion that I would say God has led me to begin trading again, but I'm going to tell you a story. This is not going to be like my normal videos. I'm going to tell you a little bit of the story. I started my channel, Cryptogenic, not to start a channel or create a platform for me to do crypto technical analysis. I really didn't know much, but I had an idea looking at an XRP chart. And being an Enneagram 7, I had to get that idea out. So very quick, but I didn't want to put it on my own channel. I have another YouTube channel, just by my name, Benjamin Robinson, where I've put out a bunch of other types of content, more just talking and creative stuff. But I did not want to put anything crypto on that channel. The reason being, my primary profession is I am a pastor. I am the pastor of a church called Lineage Church in El Cerrito, California. My wife and I have pastored that church for the last 19 years. So that is my primary profession. That is my vocation. I travel around the world and I preach in churches, conferences, revivals. That's what I do. That's my primary thing. And so the whole idea that, I was going to talk about crypto on YouTube, I honestly didn't want my church members to find out. Honestly, I didn't want my wife even to know. So I just thought, this is just going to be one video. I'm going to put it out there. And then nobody will watch it. And so it'll be over. So I just did a screen capture, just a screen record. And I just recorded my voice, just no fancy equipment or anything like that, just using my computer's microphone. And I just said, hey guys, here's my idea. Look at this XRP chart. It's been here only 2 previous times in its history. What do you think? I put the video out. And I literally thought nobody would watch it, simply because in my other channel, I put out videos all the time that nobody watched. So, I might have gotten 30 or 40 views on a video on my other channel, and I thought it was awesome stuff. Every video I put out there, I thought, oh, thousands of people should see this, but nobody watched it. So I thought, safe. But I got several hundred views within less than 24 hours on that video, which to me was viral. And so people were asking questions. Somebody asked, well, what happens if you throw a Fibonacci retracement on that? So I'm like, what's a Fibonacci retracement? So I start watching all these videos about how to use a Fibonacci retracement. And then I do another video the next day and I say, hey, somebody asked what happens if you throw a Fibonacci retracement on this. Here it is. And then somebody commented on that video and said, why is your Fibonacci upside down? So I was like, oh, wow. So I did another video the next day and I said, thank you so-and-so for pointing out that my Fibonacci was upside down. And then somebody said, well, what do you think about the MACDs? What are the MACDs saying? So I had to watch videos to figure out what the MACDs were. So that's kind of how it went every day. Every day I was simply responding to the questions of my viewers. But in order to respond to those questions, I had to do all this research and find out what this stuff was. And I learned. I learned a lot. I learned from guys, started watching guys like Crypto Savvy was one of the first guys I watched, one of the first technical analysis guys I watched. I watched the boss of Bitcoin, BK. I watched, who else did I watch? I watched the blockchain backer, of course. I really fell in love with the Scientific Investor. And I really have always liked Benjamin Cohen. So I just started watching these guys every day and taking notes. And I was watching all these videos and learning all this stuff. And then every day I was making a new video. And the next thing I know, I'm like, I'm getting like a couple thousand views per video. And then I did a couple videos that got 10,000 plus views. I hit 1,000 subscribers in like less than a week, which was viral to me because my other channel, I still don't have 1,000 subscribers, and I've had that channel for years. I think I got 600 subscribers there. So I'm like, this is far more, like people are far more interested in this than anything else I've done. So I kept doing it. And less than 2 months later, about a month and a half later, somebody said, you should start a Patreon. It's like, a Patreon? Me? I'm like, and I felt I was pretty transparent, telling people, hey guys, I'm just learning this stuff. You know what I mean? But I started a Patreon, and a bunch of people joined. And I had this trading strategy I laid out. I got them all on a Zoom, and I was like, all right, here's my trading strategy. We're going to leverage trade, and here's the strategy. And the basic strategy was a position trading strategy in which you simply set a position at the bottom with low leverage. And as you increase unrealized profit, you increase your leverage against your unrealized profit, and then you raise your stop losses to protect yourself from loss. Well, it started working. It was a little bumpy road getting started, but once it started and we got into the profit, the profit started rolling in, and it was also the perfect time in the market. And so for a few months there, from like mid-February 2021 all the way to May, we were up, I don't know, 4,000%. I mean, it was going really, really well. But something happened along the line, and what happened along the line was I started to experience, most people are more moved by FOLO than FOMO. FOLO, fear of loss, I made that up. FOMO, fear of missing out. I'm more moved by FOMO than FOLO. So my biggest fear is that there's going to be a huge gain, a huge market move up that I miss because I was being conservative. And it was compounded by the fact that now I've got about 40 or 50, more than 50 members in my trading group who are following my calls. And we're now up 3,000 or 4,000%, something like that. But I'm thinking the market is just getting started going up. And I remember one particular day, this was in mid-May, I want to say it was May 21st, 2021, 5/21/21. All day long, I was just uneasy. I couldn't shake it. Just felt anxious, uneasy, restless. I could not shake it, but I also could not put my finger on it. But at the same time, I could put my finger on it. I was anxious about the market. The market just something didn't feel right. And I was anxious all day long. Here's the problem. I had removed our stop losses. We were up 4,000%, but we had no stop losses in place, which was exactly what I said we were not going to do. And I remember that night, before I went to bed, 3 things came to me. Number 1, I need to put our stop losses back in place immediately. Number 2, I need to move my entire investment portfolio into USDT, into Tether. And number 3, I need to short Litecoin. Because that night when I went to bed, Litecoin was $418. I thought I need to put a stop loss at 410, and then I need to short it. Stop loss my long positions, and then just set a short position. At the time, we were trading on Primex BT, and so they allowed you to set separate long and short positions concurrently. Can't do that where we're trading now on KuCoin. So I thought to myself, I'll do that tomorrow. Tomorrow, when I wake up, I'm going to call the group together and I'm going to do that. Big mistake. I woke up the next morning at about 6 a.m. and my phone was buzzing so hard it was practically bouncing. I had messages from every member of my group. We had all been liquidated. Litecoin had plummeted. We had longed Litecoin at like $60 or $70, something like that, and it was up to 418. And we kept increasing our leverage and increasing our leverage and increasing our leverage and increasing our leverage and increasing our leverage. So we were leveraged to the hilt, and we had all of this unrealized profit. All we had to do was set a stop loss. The market could have crashed as hard as it wanted to crash. All it would have done was lock in our profit. And I got on the Zoom call, and I got 50 people on this Zoom call. And we all had gone from 4,000% profit to $0. I mean, we had been liquidated completely. Completely liquidated. You know how terrifying it is to open up your email inbox at 6 o'clock in the morning and see a whole series of liquidation emails? Ooh, I could still feel that. It's visceral. It's painful. My eye is twitching a little bit just talking about this stuff. I did not want to talk about this. I didn't even want to do this video, honestly. Avoiding it. But Alex Hormozi said, the thing that you're avoiding talking about is the thing that you need to talk about anyway. So now I've got this group of 50 people that are all liquidated. Only one person was really verbally upset with me. I felt like all of them had the right to be. But they were all like, hey, man, we all knew that this was enter at your own risk type of thing. And they were like, we're still with you. So what do we do now? But I was so overwhelmed by this sense of failure that I had no answer to that question. I don't know. Now, up to that time, I was posting a YouTube video virtually every day, and I was in my group virtually every day. So I was present. But now, all of a sudden, I was overcome by this sense of failure. And what happens when I did a short last week that said, don't waste failure on shame. That's exactly what happened to me. The shame hit me so hard that I just wanted to hide. I just wanted to disappear. I didn't want to be seen. I felt I didn't deserve to be seen or heard. I felt like, man, I've been exposed as a phony. I've made one of the worst mistakes that I possibly can make, and because of it, my whole group has suffered. And man, it was a nightmare. I mean, it was a nightmare. I've gone through it as an individual trader before. That hurts. But leading a group of individuals, that was a nightmare. So here's how I responded to that. I started to just disappear. Kind of slowly stopped posting YouTube videos, slowly stopped posting charts in my Patreon group. People stopped asking questions. I stopped providing perspectives. And people slowly started leaving my group. And every time somebody left my group, I thought, That's right. That's what they should do. They shouldn't pay me to be a part of my group anymore. And I think I was now posting maybe one YouTube video a month. By September 21, I had 8 people left in my Patreon. Almost nobody watching my YouTube videos anymore because I wasn't posting them. The shame was still so thick on me, almost as if I had personally crashed the market. And I thought, I'll never trade again. I'll never trade again. I'm just that bad. And guess what? I didn't trade for the rest of 2021. But something happened in September 2021. I posted a video about Bitcoin Cash. And I talked about a little bit of the fundamentals and a little bit of the technicals as well. I talked about how it's both a store of value and a means of exchange, and that people don't understand the importance and strength of BCH. The next morning, my phone is buzzing again, and my friends are like, dude, check out Digital Dave's Telegram. I'm like, what? Like, dude, Digital Dave posted your video in his Telegram. I'm like, what? I look in his Telegram, and sure enough, he posted my Bitcoin Cash video, and he said, Cryptogenic is covering some of my favorite assets, and this guy gets it when it comes to BCH. Just said some really nice things about me. It was brief, but it was like, I mean, it literally, I was going to just shut down everything. I was going to shut down Cryptogenic. I was going to shut down my Patreon. I'm done. I failed. Nobody's watching my videos anymore. It's over. And all of a sudden, several hundred people are watching, liking, and commenting on my next video. And they start pouring into my Patreon. Maybe 15 people joined my Patreon, and they were like, hey, Digital Dave sent this. I'm like, what? Are you? I mean, literally, Digital Dave posting that video in his Telegram saved my channel, saved my whole platform. Gave me kind of a new lease on life. Anyway, so that's why I didn't shut down in September, but I still did not stop trading. Did not start trading, excuse me. Fast forward, fall of 2022. I get a call from a gentleman in my church, very successful businessman, good friend of mine. Actually interviewed him on my podcast, About the Benjamin podcast. His name is Justin Chan. And it's an amazing story. I mean, they should make a movie about his life story. It really is amazing. But he goes, hey, PB, let's go out to dinner. I'm like, all right, let's go to dinner. So we go to dinner, we're sitting down, and he's like, so I think you should start trading again. I'm like, what? Where's this coming from? Like, what? Because I'm thinking, like, my vocation is I'm a pastor. It's cool that I get to do this crypto thing on the side, but it's not who I am. My job is to preach the gospel. That's my vocation. And God lets me do this thing over here because it gives me an opportunity to share with people, and I have little opportunities to share the gospel. I do my little preaching through Bitcoin or through crypto, right? And I was like, Justin, I can't trade anymore. And he goes, why not? And I said, man, back in 2021, May of 2021, and I told him the whole story. And he looked at me and he goes, you know, when I was 17 years old, I got in a terrible car accident and it was my fault. And when that was over, I thought to myself, I should probably never drive again. And then he just looked at me. Paused for a second. I knew exactly where he was going. And he goes, Benjamin, you know, you're not the guy you were in May of 2021. You're not going to make the mistakes you made in May of 2021. Precisely because you made them in 2021. You're going to be a better trader in 2023. Precisely because of the mistakes you made in 2021. I was like, that's true. I'll never do that again. I guarantee you that. I had a few more experiences that were confirmatory. I thought, this is strange, but it seems to me that God is leading me to trade again. Not to mention, a bunch of my buddies would send me charts just, unrelated. Say, hey, what do you think of this? I'm thinking about shorting here. And I would look at it, I would probably long it here. And I'd send up a chart and they would do it and say, hey, I made 10 grand on that trade. How much did you make? I said, I didn't make anything. I didn't trade it. Like, what? You didn't trade it? You called it, but you didn't trade it? Like, no. Okay. This is the nitty gritty. This is really what I wanted to communicate to you today. Why is God leading me to trade? Because that has been the greatest question. If this is God leading me to trade, why would he be leading me to trade? So we started trading again in my Patreon group late December. And I get a call from Russell. Good old Russell. Big Russ. He's been in my group since the very beginning. And he calls me up. He's like, Crypto G. That's what he calls me. Crypto G. He's from New York. He's like, I knew it. I knew you'd be trading again. That's why I waited. That's why I never left. Because I knew you'd do it again. I knew you'd come back. I knew we were going to do it again, baby. I knew we were going to do it again. And Russ stayed with me all this time. All this time. This is what it came down to for me. This was my thought process at the end of December. We're still in a bear market. I'm still expecting a lower low, another bottom. I don't think we've bottomed yet. I cannot make my patrons profitable in their investment portfolios. Really, the only way I can make them profitable is as traders. So trading again is the way that I can love the members of my Patreon community. That was the conclusion I came to in December. This is how I can show them love. If I truly love them, I'll do everything in my power to make them profitable. But the reason I realized I hesitated all of this time to trade is because I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of failure. And seeing that I felt like God led me to do it, I thought, God's going to let me be instantly successful. Like, we're going to jump right back on this wagon and it's going to go. And that has not been the case. I wish I could tell you that that's the case, but it has not been the case. January has been a bumpy month for us as traders. Really bad. I made so many mistakes in the month of January. And honestly, I might be in the middle of another one right now. I'm going to make another video that just summarizes the 3 major mistakes that I made trading in January. But suffice it to say, our trading portfolios are not in the profit for the month of January. And I messed up over and over and over again. I keep a journal. I journal through it. It's like, in hindsight, I can see exactly what I did wrong. But then, in my relationship with God, I'm like, God, why would you let me, you led me here and then you're just letting me flail like this? What is going on? And I'm like, shh. And it dawned on me yesterday. Oh, that's the point. You remember Moses meets God at the burning bush and God says, go stand before Pharaoh and say, let my people go. Here, take this stick. With this stick, you're going to deliver Israel from Egypt. And so Moses thinks, God told me to do it. It's going to definitely go well. And then he gets there and Pharaoh goes, no, get out of my face. Matter of fact, y'all got to double the number of bricks. He made the work harder for them. And even the people of Israel were mad at him. Like, what? You said you were going to set us free. You just made our work harder. And then Moses goes and cries to God. And God's like, he's like, Well, first Moses is like, God, you told me to go tell him. And then I told him and he said no. And God goes, go tell him again. You know, Pharaoh had to say no 10 times before God had to move, before God was ready to move. In other words, Moses had to experience failure 10 times and then show up the next day and try it again. And I realized, oh, that's what this has been all about. The difference this time is I made a bunch of mistakes in January. But I keep showing up every day, though. And every day I fight the temptation to disappear. Every time I make a bad call and we get stopped out again, gosh, I can feel it right here. Ooh, it hurts so bad. I think it was yesterday. Yesterday I made a call. It was yesterday or the day before. I made a call for, we're trading Solana right now. And set the stop loss. And the price dropped 1 penny beneath our stop loss and then bounced. 1 cent. 1 freaking cent. And then bounced. And we would have been solidly in profit had I just set the stop loss 2 pennies below. 2 pennies. You know, and it's like, God, what's going on? I thought you sent me here. I thought you told me to do this, and it's all going bad. I realize, oh, okay. The scripture says the righteous man falls 7 times, but he gets back up again. And David the psalmist said, I know that God is pleased with me because my enemies do not triumph over me. He didn't say he didn't have any enemies. He said they just can't win. They don't beat me. They don't take me out. They don't destroy me. I don't quit. And I just feel like what God is after in me, in this whole thing, is the resolve to keep showing up despite failure, to shake off the shame of it, and to get up again and to say, all right, let's do this thing. I can definitely see what I did wrong yesterday. I just wish I could see that I'm doing that wrong before I do it. But you know what? If I keep moving forward, I'm going to get on this ball. And once the ball starts rolling, the ball's going to keep rolling. I don't know when. I can't say it's today or tomorrow or next week or next month. I don't know when. I don't know how. But what I do know is that I'm not going to quit this time. I think a lot of times we find ourselves in situations where God sent you somewhere, but Pharaoh said no 1 time, and so you just went home crying. Must not have been God. Others of you, Pharaoh said no 3 or 4 times, and you just gave up. What if Moses would have given up after the 9th time? There's something about just keep going back. To make the decision to be completely unspoiled by failure. Or as Winston Churchill said, that courage, he talked about, to continue to move from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. Yeah, that was his definition of courage. Some of us, we just quit before we get to succeed. And I realize in hindsight that when I disappeared on my first community back in May of 2021, when I disappeared on them, I was protecting myself from shame instead of loving them. I didn't show them love. It wasn't a failure of money, it was a failure of love. That's what it was. Yeah. I say at the end of every video, sleep in peace every night, wake in joy every morning, walk in love every day. I mean that junk. That's my mission statement for my life. That's my personal mission statement. I'm going to sleep in peace every night. I'm going to wake in joy every morning, and I'm going to walk in love every day. And here's the problem. If I allow something to rob me of my peace at night, it robs me of my joy in the morning. And if it robs me of my joy in the morning, it robs me of my love during the day. And the worst state of being is the unloving state of being. When I can't love the people around me, that's really my vocation. That's really my vocation. Jesus said, by this all men will know that you are my disciples, that you love one another. And so I realize that in order to truly love my community, I got to show up. I got to show up every day. I got to show up every day. Despite my many mistakes. And then I just have to keep fighting until I figure it out, till I get on the ball. It's been rusty. I know it's there. I know what I'm doing. I've just been so rusty. It makes me so angry. And I battle shame every day. I feel ashamed. I really do. I should have made them profitable right now. The individuals who are trading in my group, they need the money. Like, they need this for their families. And, at any rate, thanks so much. If you're still watching right now, I appreciate you very much. And I just pray for you that in whatever area of your life you may be dealing with shame, that you would just shake it off like a garment and let the Lord renew your encouragement, renew your confidence, renew your joy. And I pray by His grace that you might sleep in peace every night, wake in joy every morning, and walk in love every day. This is Cryptogenic, a.k.a. Benjamin Robinson, signing out.